Two, one. Hey, happy Friday, besties and bosses. How's everyone's week going? I know there's a few new people in this group, so welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you in the group. If you're new to my world, my name's Kim Argetsinger. I'm a success and mindset business coach, and I work specifically with ambitious creatives, coaches, solopreneurs, and I love my work, and I'm so happy to have you all here. Every Friday, we jump on live, and I jam a bit more on a topic that I share over on my blog, so that we can share some reflections on it, so we can dig in a little bit more. And if you have any questions, we can hop into those as well. So if you're live with me, please say hello. Say where you're at. I'd always love to know that. Let me know if this resonates with you, and let me know if you have any reflections. And I just realized I need to move this screen because otherwise I can't see any of the comments. So as always, I've got Instagram with us as well, so it's always a little interesting getting both screens working. So we'll jam on this. So today I wanted to talk about, hey, hello, I see some friendly faces over on Instagram. So today I want to dig into how to Uber your business. So I think many of you, some of you know, I live in Manhattan. I live in New York City, and I live with my guy, and he has a 7-year-old who I call my bonus son because I don't believe in evil stepmoms. And not too long ago, he was rushing out the door to get to work on time and to get our bonus son to school on time. And for anyone who has kids, I think you know what that can be like. Some days are a breeze, and some days it's like everything goes wrong and you just can't seem to get out the door on time. This happened to be one of those days. And in New York City, there's a really fun school system. He's in second grade. If he's late more than I think 3 times to school, he gets knocked off the list for the middle school he wants to be in, or some craziness like that. So there's extra pressure to be on time. Hey, and I see the bonus dad online now, so hello. So he got out the door, he got to work on time, he sends me a message, he's at work on time, but he's left his keys behind at home. And his keys happen to open pretty much everything in his office and some important rooms he needs to get into for the day ahead. And he had a day of back-to-back meetings lined up, so he couldn't come home and get those keys. And I happened to have a day that was back-to-back with coaching clients, so as much as I wanted to be helpful, I couldn't, go be Wonder Woman and get those keys off to him. So luckily, we have a service in the city. We have something through Uber called Uber Rush. I don't know if you guys know about this service. Pretty exciting, but Uber Rush is basically a bike messenger service, and with the touch of my phone, I could type into my phone, bike messenger showed up at my door within minutes, grabbed those forgotten keys, and within another 15 minutes had them up to my guy at his office. Problem solved. Yes, I know, very lucky to have that service and to be able to use it. It's not what this is about, but I do realize that. It made me think, as I watched this messenger on his bike weaving through traffic, which was kind of terrifying to watch, it made me think about the services and the products we all offer in our businesses, and specifically just some things about our businesses. I'm always thinking about this. I'm always thinking about how things apply to our work. And one of the things it really made me think about was how in crowded, saturated markets, how there is still room for another voice, how there's still room for another thought, how there is still room for something new, even when it feels like there isn't. And that's what I want to dig into today, because I think for a lot of us, we are in spaces that are loud, they're noisy, they're saturated, and it can start to feel like, what's the point? Or there's just 1,000 people or more doing the same thing I'm doing. What's the point? Is there room for me? And I was looking at this bike rider as he went off thinking, Uber really is a great example, politics aside, of how there really is always room for new and improved ideas and how there's room for all of us. So hear me out on this one. So before Uber came around, and for those of you who don't know what Uber is, just in case you don't live in the US where they have the service, it's a service that blends taxi cabs with your phone, like car service, and I can go into my phone through an app, and at the touch of the button I can order a car, lets me know when the car has arrived. I can pay through my phone, it takes care of everything for me, and then tracks me to my destination. So, and they have a whole bunch of other services that they've wrapped into that. I'm pretty sure before Uber came onto the market, no one in New York was sitting around thinking, you know what we need? You know what we could really use? We could use some more cars on the street. You know what else we could use? We could use another form of a taxi. We could use another way to get around town. If you haven't been to New York City, there's so much traffic. The last thing I'm sure anyone thought we needed were more cars or another way to get around. We have already taxis. There's plenty of taxi service companies. We have service cars. We have freaking rickshaws. If you go up to Central Park, there's even horse and buggies. So the last thing we probably thought we needed was what Uber was presenting. And yet here comes Uber into the marketplace, and what they did is they took an existing product and they found a way to flip it on its side and to make it into something different. And they came in and they didn't just, and I think this is important for all of us, they didn't just offer something because it felt good or because they really enjoyed it or because or make something that was more of the same. They found a way to listen and figure out who their audience was. They found a way to tap into a different audience. They found a way to niche down and to become even more specific. And they found a way to differentiate and to stand out and to address problems we didn't even know we had, pain points we didn't even know we had, concerns we didn't even know we had, and pleasures, things we wanted that we didn't even know we had. So they took something like the taxi service and found a way to make it different, a way to make it better, a way to elevate it. So Uber has things like they've taken care of that problem. I don't know if any of you have ever sat on the side of the sidewalk waiting for a car to show up, and you wait for cab after cab after cab. Uber solved that problem by giving us an app where we can just order the car and it shows us when it gets there. They've erased that pain of how much is this car going to cost me to go to the airport with their estimated fare portion in their phone. They've taken care of that. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been, I said y'all again, if any of you all have ever been in a cab with a bunch of friends and you're the one stuck paying for it and you're like, I'm never going to get my money back for this cab ride I just now splurged for. They've taken care of that with their split fare that you can go into the app, you can split your fare with other people. They deliver food. They allow us to share a ride with other drivers. So they figured out how to make carpooling with a taxi cab type service. And they have the messenger service that I just mentioned. And for anyone who lives in New York City, bike messenger services are nothing new. These have been around for a while. This isn't some brand new amazing idea, but up until Uber brought them into our space, they were pretty much reserved for people who had corporate accounts, and they were pretty cumbersome to start up. I worked in an office for a hot second when I first moved to New York, and we had to set one of these up last minute. We were in a jam. It was such a pain in the behind to set up, and it was pretty expensive. So Uber took something that already existed and found a way to hit a different market, which is people like me who work at home and who are busy, and make it really accessible and relatively affordable for those times you just need to send something across town. So I think this is something we can all take some inspiration from and some insights from, because again, it can feel like we are in a space where it is so loud and we're all just screaming on top of each other and there's just no room for something else. And I think Uber debunks this. They show us that there is, yes, there's no new ideas, nothing's new. There's only 5 plot lines and Steal Like an Artist and all of that. So while in some ways there's nothing new, there is always a way to put a new spin on something that already exists. There's always a way to differentiate. There's always going to be new problems, new pain points, new pleasures we don't even know we have that we can tap into. And when we as entrepreneurs, when we as creatives, when we start to tap into these things and we start to think, how can I find a way to address this in a new way? How can I put my own spin on this? We can essentially stand out above the noise. You know, we're not creating, I think we don't add to the noise when we create our own noise. And then we suddenly have our own pool that we stand in. And I think Uber also gives us a great example that when we look at something where it seems like there is absolutely no room, I mean, literally there's no room on our streets for more cars. That's what it feels like in New York, that there really is always room for all of us. And that's what I want to leave everyone with today, because this is something that comes up with some of my clients. It comes up for me as well. We log onto Instagram and we see however many more people in our space doing what feels like exactly like what we're doing. And I want to offer you today that look for a way to Uber your business, that there is room for all of us. There is room in this space for everyone, and there's always room for us when we can find a way to put our own unique spin on what we're doing. We can find a way to differentiate. We can find a way to really tap into and listen to our audience, or find a slightly new audience and find a new way to serve them. So that is what I want to share today. Oh, I've got to love this. Oh, hi, Hilda. I'm so glad you love this. I'm so glad this resonates. And I've got, oh, can't see the comments here. Let's see, what does Gemma say? Gemma says, at work at the moment, so we'll have to catch up later. Thank you for everything, Kim. You are awesome. Love you all. I love you, Gemma. You're so sweet. That just made my day. Thank you. And Eric says, hi, I'm playing hooky at work, watching you from a forgotten corner in the office. All right, we won't tell anyone that you're playing hooky at work, but I'm glad you're watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for watching this. Does anyone else have any other thoughts? I would love to know if this resonates with you. And just if it resonates with you, that feeling like it can be so crowded and so saturated. Because I really do want to hit on that and just give everyone that reminder that there is room for all of us, and not to let that be something that stops you from putting your work out into the world and putting your work out into the marketplace. And that it goes for the creatives as well. This is something I wish I had thought more about when I was acting, because I used to get discouraged all the time when I would look around me at how many people seemed to be doing exactly what I was doing. So for all of you, there's room for us all. And I would really love to encourage you to think of ways to Uber your business. Specifically, how can you put a new spin on the work you do? How can you find a way to differentiate or to elevate your service or elevate what already exists? And how can you find a way to make your own noise instead of adding to the noise? And that is what I've got for you. Thank you for being here. Happy Friday, and I will see you all next week. All right, we got to end here. And bye, besties and bosses. Thank you all for being here. Oh, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I forgot to mention this. I am bringing in spring next week with a lovely, dear friend and colleague of mine, Miss Kristen. I'm going to say her last name wrong. I know it. Zegers, but I've put a link for you. This is on Monday. We're going to be bringing in the spring equinox. She's having a free live webinar. It's going to be a beautiful circle, and I would love to invite you guys to join us, and I dropped a link for that. I almost forgot to mention that. I'm really, really excited about this. Kristen is just amazing and wonderful and so lovely. And I know she's going to bring some really special magic to this circle, and it's going to be something I think a little different than what I usually get to do. So I'm very, very excited for that. So please, if you'd love to join us, there's a link for you below on that. And now I'm for real wishing you guys a happy Friday and a beautiful weekend, and I will see you guys next week.